Welcome back for another video. 42 points in Gameweek 2, not enough for a green arrow. For me, it was Palmer missing out that really set the tone for the Gameweek right at the start, given he was my captain. I was saying on the deadline stream, I had a gut feeling about that fixture and I wanted to take Salah captain as on. Definitely one of those what could have been games, given that they won 5-1 without him, and you'd expect he would have done well himself had he not pulled up injured in the warm-up. That's the way it goes sometimes in FPL. The other gut call was double Burnley defence, and that was a relief that came off at least. It was 6 points from Dubravka, 6 from Estev. But yeah, blanks from Murillo, Rodgers, Reinders, Bruno, Strand-Larsen, Watkins all summed up Gameweek 2 for me. For us Palmer owners, this is where patience is truly tested. Like, assuming that he misses Gameweek 3, but expected back Gameweek 4 after the break against Brentford, then they've got Man United and Brighton. There is a decision to make there. Do you just keep him or do you sell him? Big decisions to be made on pivoting away from 2 premiums or just ride it out. So that's the 1 minute summary. Let's have a look at some of the best and worst scores sent in by you guys this week, and then we'll run through the team for Gameweek 3 and transfer plans. The theme this week is very much a lot of pain. Martin first up says, my bench. He had Dubravka and Dye, Van de Ven and Estev on the bench, so that's returns across the board for 24 points benched. Really unlucky that. You can't really fault any of the players that he benched there versus who he started. FPL Noah says, worst gaming of my career so far, 30 points all out. He had Palmer, he had blanks from Sales to Kuiper, Dorgu, Saar, Bruno, Wirtz, Rodgers. He had Haaland captain and Watkins. Smechi says, shocking bench boost, in brackets, otherwise would have been a good week. I think you're being a bit too harsh on yourself here. Like, 14 points bench boosted is good enough for me. I've got a question for you all actually. What's the minimum that you'd be happy with on your bench using the bench boost? I would honestly take 14. I mean, I infamously bench boosted last season a Burn own goal. I bench boosted Wan-Bissaka, who wasn't in the squad, after starting about 25 games in a row, and it was a 4-point bench boost for me last season in a double game week as well. Alright, let's try and find a good one. Okay, Straw Hat smashed it. He got 76 points, and the only blanks in his team was Aina, Wirtz and Kudus. Captain Salah, plus had João Pedro and Gyökeres up front. Huge game week, well played. Okay, let's do one more. We normally finish on a high, but I know how hard it is to come out and face the music after a generational stinker game week. It's harder when you're doing FPL content, and FPL Nightmare finished with 20 points, and yeah, he makes FPL content himself. Definitely check him out. He was vlogging in the lead up to Newcastle versus Liverpool. He'd done the analysis and he really fancied Captain Gordon to do well, who of course goes on to get sent off for -4. 20 points all out for Andrew. 10.7 million Gameweek rank. We were talking in DMs and he's taken it really well in his stride. Keep going, mate, you'll bounce back. Right, let's get into the team for Gameweek 3 and transfer plans. In goal, Sanchez comes back into the 11. I'm pretty sure last season it took me like 6 or 7 game weeks to get my first goalkeeper clean sheet, so 2 for 2 is a small positive, I suppose. Thank you for the comments as well on yesterday's video about the Forest and Brentford's odds missing from my site. That bug's been fixed now, and here's the complete odds for you. So Man United 47%, Forest 40% in second, Chelsea 38%, so Sanchez third top. If you'd like to install the Focal app, just search FPL Focal in the App Store, or links below for that. It's packed with useful information like this to help you make better FPL decisions, which does add up significantly over the season. Something seemingly minor like starting the right keeper, let's say 8 times over a season, could be 40 points by Gameweek 38, and let alone other decisions like captaincy, transfers and other decisions that we have to make week to week. One of the coolest things about the market and player odds widgets on the site is they're constantly updating themselves. So like, let's say Murillo and Milenkovic pick up injuries this week in training and they're ruled out for Gameweek 3. You'd see Forest's odds here drop significantly on the next update to reflect that. Man United are top for projected goals this week. They're on 2.3. Chelsea and Spurs 2.0. Man City 1.9. In defence, it's Murillo, Pedro Porro and Romero. Spurs and Arsenal are the only teams on 2 for 2 in terms of clean sheets. They were a little bit lower in 5th on the clean sheet odds this week, 29% home to Bournemouth. I'm doubled up as well, given Anderson's got Chelsea, Estev's got Man United, so I'm starting both Porro and Romero. Frank's done a great job so far. Obviously it's still early days, but encouraging signs, especially given they've not had the transfer window they would have hoped for. 2.49 XGC ranks 7th best after 2 games, and playing City away always will hurt your XGC, so that's pretty impressive. They've conceded the 4th fewest shots in the box as well. So 7th best XGC, 4th best shots in box conceded. For comparison, last season they were 4th worst for XGC, and they were 6th worst for shots in box conceded. Rock bottom is Everton, 4.57 expected goals conceded. So they've been a bit fortunate to keep a clean sheet at all, and of course Pickford saved that penalty. After that it's Wolves, Leeds and West Ham rock bottom of the clean sheet odds. Murillo and Forest defence in general has been really disappointing, and they come back from the international break playing Arsenal away, so I could really do with something from Murillo this week ideally, or it could be destined for a price drop or two. There is a temptation to move him to Munoz Gameweek 4 for the same price, considering Palace's fixture swing, though Forest do have Burnley and Sunderland Gameweek 5 and 6, so I may just keep him, and Anderson will come in handy in fairness, he's got Leeds in Gameweek 4. In midfield it's Salah, Palmer, Bruno, Rodgers and Reinders. Palmer had a scan on his groin yesterday and the results were positive, better than he first feared, so yeah, nothing serious or too bad showing up, but Chelsea and Palmer are going to be cautious and Fulham might come too soon, it's been reported. And this is the gamble with having a light bench, like it's not ideal if he misses this game. I can use my weak bench with Anderson playing Chelsea, or I could sell him. I think people are overlooking the potential option of holding on to him if it is just one game out. Like, you save a transfer and you've still got Palmer versus Brentford Gameweek 4. It's a big decision as there is that knock-on effect. You only have one premium afterwards unless you go up to Haaland or something. And yeah, you're one transfer down. We'll talk transfer plans in a minute and what I'm going to do with Palmer. I'm going with Bruno captain this week. The fixture's just too good not to captain someone in. We saw Spurs beat Burnley 3-0 in Gameweek 1 and I think it could be a similar scoreline. Man United were top for projected goals there on the app table, which I've got back, haven't I? He's going to be on borrowed time though if he does carry on playing deeper or just generally looking less threatening. Salah gets the vice captaincy given the Palmer situation and his uncertainty. Like, if Palmer's seen in training before the deadline and declared fully fit, then he'll be vice captain. I think either way it's going to be Bruno. He's got a pretty good record against Arsenal. 15 times he's played them in the league playing for Liverpool, 10 goals, 4 assists. Liverpool haven't beaten Arsenal in a league game since March 2022. Rodgers needs to start delivering soon. Sarr, for example, looks great in Gameweek 4 when he's got Sunderland home, then he's got West Ham away, and he's 6.5 mil, so I've got absolutely no issues making that switch from Rodgers in terms of funds since Rodgers is 7 mil. I'd really like to keep Rodgers though. I still think he could come good if Emery just gets his lineup and tactics sorted out. Villa themselves have got Sunderland in Gameweek 5, Burnley Gameweek 7, so selling could end up a big regret, and I'd really like to keep for that run if I can. And the problem is, the longer they keep blanking, the harder it is to keep holding when there's these opportunities passing. You know, like some people are going Cunha for Burnley home this week, there's Sarr against Sunderland Gameweek 4. These opportunities soon pass by if you don't take them, so patience being tested, but let's see how Rodgers gets on this week. There's not a lot to separate Reinders and Anderson so far in terms of actual points in that 5.5 mil bracket. It could very easily swing back in Anderson's favour, to be honest, given that he's got West Ham home. 1.9 projected goals for Man City away at Brighton this week. Brighton actually beat City 2-1 in the same fixture last season. Up front, it's Strand Larsen and Watkins. I'm really hoping Strand Larsen doesn't sign for Newcastle, and I know every single Wolves fan out there feels the same way. Or at least in my case, I hope it doesn't happen this game week. I'm already potentially down one player, and Newcastle reportedly submitted another £55 million bid last night, which Wolves rejected again. This late in the window, Wolves might just take the position that he's simply not for sale at any price, because although they'd make a really nice profit on him, if they were to get relegated, it could cost them multiples more than that longer term, so let's see what happens. Of course, if the signing does happen after the Everton game, and he ends up Newcastle's main number 9, then that'd be incredible, of course, for 6.5 mil. Though again, if they were to sign 2 strikers, then that'd be problematic at Newcastle, and you think they'd probably want to. In the League Cup Tuesday night, Wolves were 2-1 down against West Ham. They brought Strand Larsen on, he scored 2 goals in 2 minutes to knock West Ham out. Context is so important in FPL, and I still believe in Strand Larsen. I know some of you might think I've lost the plot of him, but in Gameweek 1 they had Man City, that's the context there. Gameweek 2 they went a man down against Bournemouth, that's the context there. I'll probably still be saying the same in Gameweek 38, justifying his 37 blanks somehow. And Watkins completes the 11 against a hopefully leggy Palace side, who have a crucial second leg in their Europa Conference League qualifiers Thursday night. Losing's not an option there. Like, they've been really unlucky to land in this position where they were meant to be in the Europa League but couldn't be. I think they might go full strength given that they're only 1-0 up in aggregate and they're playing away. So, the bench and transfer plans. First of all, it's Dubravka, Anderson, Esteve and Gu on the bench. The team obviously picks itself this week. I don't have any benching headaches or 50-50s this week, thankfully. The big decision really is what to do with Palmer though. I've looked at lots of paths, like there is Palmer down to a 5.4 mil, cheaper mid, and Watkins to Haaland for free, that works. It'd have to be a 5 mil mid though, because there's no one for 5.4 mil, and is that really an upgrade long term when Palmer could just miss the one game, and Watkins still has the potential with those fixtures. I've also looked at Palmer to Cunha, and this is the move I'd be the most likely to make, I would say. Though Man United have got Man City after the break, Gameweek 4, they've got Chelsea Gameweek 5, so do I really want to double up with Bruno? It's quite all in on that Burnley fixture, and don't get me wrong, I really want Cunha this week, and I think he could do really well in this fixture, but I'm trying to take a longer term view. There is the option to do sort of hokey cokey, like Palmer to Cunha, and then I could go Bruno to Palmer in Gameweek 4, if Bruno still isn't convincing and playing deeper, while Cunha looks good. So reluctantly, the plan this week is to roll the transfer, assuming there's no other complications of course, like Strand Larsen moving team. In that scenario, if he's looking like he won't play in Gameweek 3, then I'd be pressed into doing something with 2 players out really. I mean, it could be something like Palmer to Cunha, Strand Larsen to Mateta, that's quite tempting. Honourable mention to Semenyo as well. He doesn't have the standout fixture this week like Cunha does, but he's got the better longer term fixtures basically. Annoyingly, Cunha has already risen, so I'm 0.1 mil off doing Cunha and Gyökeres in for Palmer and Strand Larsen. That would have been perfect, I think, Cunha and Gyökeres in, but yeah, the plan is to ride it out and stay patient with a longer term view and therefore roll the transfer. Thank you for watching, and make sure you are subscribed to follow my team and see how it all goes next week. See you soon for the next one.